In order for Burlington Northern to be the best railroad there is in delivering its service to its customers, it is extremely important that we have the quality process in place, because the quality process has as its focal point people who are the employees of this company and people who are our customers. As a result of having a good quality process in place, we'll have something that will allow us to grow our business, allow us to retain our business that we have now with our existing customers. I can't begin to describe the number of events that occur with me in my job where I have customers coming to me frequently wanting to understand where BN is at in its quality process in order that they can be sure that we are the kind of company that they want to do business with. Just last week, Oscar Scott from J.M. Huber was here in my office. And Oscar said, you know, I'm only here for one reason, and that's to kind of gain a philosophical understanding about where BN is at and its understanding of the quality process. Oscar went on to tell me that the reason this was important to his company is because they've discovered that in order for them to take cost out of their own operation, in order for them to improve the quality of their services and their product to their customers, the most powerful thing they have at their hands in order to do this is the quality process. And he went on to say that in order for them to make decisions about what transportation companies they want to do business with, they want to understand where that company is in its quality process, because only then can they have confidence that that transportation carrier, and in this case Burlington Northern, can be a real good extension of their own business into their own marketplace. Oscar said to me, Bill, frankly, there's a lot more business out there to be had with our company. And if we can do this quality process right between us, it can mean a lot more business for you. I couldn't help but think that a lot more business with just one company and another company and another company means also a lot more jobs for the people at Burlington Northern. You're now going to see 5 stories about BN and its customers, but more particularly, 5 stories about how the quality process played a very important role in improving our relationship with our customers, in keeping our existing business, and even helping us to get some new business. As you view these 5 stories, I'd like you to pay particular attention to some common themes that I think run through all of them. The first one is notice how the quality process in reality is simple, it's common sense, it's flexible, and it can be applied to any situation. The quality process brings people together. These stories also show that the quality process gives people from BN and its customers a common way to solve problems. The quality process taps the expertise of those who are on the ground doing the work and are closest to the customer. The quality process is not only essential to keeping our existing business, but it gets us new business at the same time. The quality process is not a one-time event. It becomes a continuous way of doing business. And a final important point I want you to pay particular attention to is that the quality process improves safety. This first story that you're going to see involves 2 customers, Copper's Coke and ABC Coke. It's interesting they were doing something, as you'll see in this story, that they thought was doing BN a favor. But instead, they were creating a safety hazard for BN's employees and for their customers. We used the quality process here in a way that solved a safety problem for both BN and for the customer.
Beforehand, we were loading the cars up to visible capacity, which would be a Coke loaded up to the top of the outside rail and to the top of the end of the cars, and trying to get maximum tonnage on the cars, thinking that we were doing the railroad a favor.
It was a bad problem because it was all over the yard. It was over the rails, in between the switches, switch stands and all. Created a big problem when you got off a car, especially at night. It's hard to see. Very easily to turn an ankle and maybe wrench a knee.
When we realized we were causing a problem for them, we cut back on it and we tried to leave an 8-inch void around the sides of the car, and we try to leave a couple of foot of void in the tail of the car because that's where most of your bumping and your coke will move to in a normal humping operation.
When you have a chance to apply the quality process to the safety program at Burlington, ladies and gentlemen, you should grab it.
There are a couple of points that are very interesting in this story. The first one is it demonstrates that the quality process brings people together. It demonstrates that the quality process got us some new business that we had lost. But it also demonstrates that the quality process can overcome some other shortcomings we have. As you'll see here, the Union Pacific had a significant advantage over us because they have a superior information system. We were able to overcome that disadvantage with the use of the quality process.
The UP Railroad basically was getting all the business out of this mill here with Burlington Northern doing all the delivery and switching of the cars for the UP.
I'm like the old cowboy. I ride for my brand. I don't ride for the somebody else's brand. So that's where I made a couple phone calls.
We got together with the marketing department that got some different rates issued on various types of equipments to destinations throughout the country, and that helped get some of the business back.
We're starting to get employees in Tacoma that are caring about our equipment needs, and a marketing group that is starting to be more responsive about how we jointly access the marketplace as partners.
Over the last several years, I've seen a rather significant change in the relationship between Simpson Timber Company and the Burlington Northern. In that 2 years ago, we did virtually no business, and over the last 2 years, our business has grown significantly and continues to grow today. Many of the lumber manufacturers that exist today won't be here 5 years from now. I think the stronger the partnership between Simpson and the Burlington Northern, the stronger the job security for folks within the Burlington Northern and folks within Simpson Timber Company as well.
And we're starting to see a more objective process with the BN. It's really a very encouraging process. Hasn't been here for a long, long time.
This next story involves Bush Agri Industries, which is a division of the Anheuser-Busch Company. This is a case where we were delivering dirty cars for loading at Fairfield, Montana. Bush was loading barley, a food product that was important not to be contaminated. Unfortunately, the cars that we were delivering had been previously loaded with fertilizer and other commodities that were contaminating the barley. We were about ready to lose this business until the local people submitted an arm. And with the submission of that arm, the quality process took place and wound up coming up with some solutions to providing clean cars. That solution of providing clean cars came to us just in time.
Those cars, in essence, were in terrible shape. You know, dirty, they smelled. We would, the rotten grain on the tops of the cars in late August, September was full of bugs. We would get cars that had fertilizer, coal, talc, you name it.
We turned in an action request memo to the trainmaster, and we had a meeting with our team.
I was on the team because I was always there. I figured, well, you know, this is a good thing for me to get involved with.
We identified the problem through the steering committee in Havre and said that the problem was too big. We can't handle it here in Great Falls ourselves, and we needed their help.
They set up a cleaning facility in Pasco, and now the case has been where the cars have been pretty good.
The customer has not only come back on board as a BN fan, but has related this story both internally and externally with other vendors of theirs, and use us now as an example of doing things right the first time.
I feel satisfied after I helped Bush out. I was real satisfied with my job, you know. And I didn't have to run up there every day either when I'd done my job right here in town. It made my job a lot easier.
This next story involves Champion International Paper Company at Sartell, Minnesota. But it also involves Champion's customer, the R.R. Donnelly Company. The R.R. Donnelly Company was in the process of taking their business away from Champion because the paper was getting damaged from the transportation that Burlington Northern was providing. Now, there's a couple of points in this story about what happened on the way to us keeping this business. The first one to notice is how the quality process produced a teamwork between the BN people and the Champion people that allowed each one to learn each other's business and each other's problems. The second point to notice is how the quality process was able to allow Champion to get and keep all of the R.R. Donnelly business and to become their sole supplier of paper. And therefore, BN got to keep its business too at the same time.
We were delivering product to the customer that was in some pretty bad shape, and it was to the point where it was unusable. And to a large degree, it was also unsafe.
Initially, we just took the view that it wasn't our fault, it was the railroad's fault. Once we got out there and saw the loads, how loose they were and stuff, we knew that we were part of the problem.
And at that time, the Burlington Northern had a quality program in place, and we grabbed it with open arms.
I've been up to Champion. I've had most of my carmen up. I take them up different times to have a tour of Champion paper. Also, I've had Champion paper, Tony Warner and his loaders down to see our operation. And through that communication, we found out a lot of things that I didn't know about loading paper, and they didn't know about fixing cars.
The end result has been very positive. In fact, our customer now tells us that instead of being probably the worst deliverer of product, we have gone to the top.
Well, we satisfy customers, we're going to get more customers. Champion's going to start talking to other people saying, hey, this is what we're getting from Burlington Northern. Consequently, somebody else will say, I want the same thing. Consequently, we're going to have more men down here, we're going to have a bigger clean-out track, and a better operation.
This next story involves North Star Steel in Duluth, Minnesota. Now, there are a few important points on this story. The first one is if it had not been for the tenacity of the local employees in working hard to overcome some of the obstacles that were in their way at BN, we would not have had a success story here. The second point is that, again, the quality process, as pointed out by this customer, is the only reason they are now doing business with us. And the final point is that here in this case, as is the case with so many of our other quality process stories, jobs were added at Burlington Northern as a result of the quality process being in place.
We had a gondola come in that had holes in the car initially, and we didn't see it because of the snow load inside that car. It was built up with 6 or 8 inches of snow. And we loaded the car, sent it out to Tacoma, Washington. When it got to Tacoma, it was about 18 tons short on the load that we originally put into it.
We knew they were not getting the quality guns they needed. We started the process of trying to get a gun cleaning facility in Superior to help a buy-in with the BN employees in Superior and help our customers also. That didn't go real well.
But we just kept going and kept working on it, and moral support from each other. We made it through these tough times.
The BN instituting a quality process, I think, is the only reason that they're still doing business with us right now.
In Superior, the quality process has added 6 jobs for mechanical people, cleaning box cars, inspecting gondolas when they come in on trains now where they never were inspected before. So, due to an employee standpoint, it's added jobs for us.
The quality process in reality is something that is simple, it's straightforward, it's easy to use. It's a tool that is available for all of us to solve problems with. In your everyday work, as you see a problem that needs to be solved, take some action. Put in an action request memo, and then watch the results roll in.